And so now we are entering into the second decan of Taurus. And for those of you who have seen my previous videos on Taurus, you'll see that Taurus is represented by the Hierophant. This is a strange figure, you might think, to represent what we recognize as a bull. But when we have a look at the Hierophant, we can see that they are drawing the non-physical realm and interpreting it and being able to deliver that to the physical realm. So they're able to draw heaven down to earth and give form to the non-physical. And this is the same as we see in the myth of Zeus that I used to describe the umbrella of Taurus as all three decans. And that shows how Zeus is so potent, so powerful in his raw, non-physical form as a god, that to come to earth, he would probably kill the Europa, who he set his eyes upon. So he has to instead find a physical form, a physical version on earth, and he chooses a bull. And so we see this idea of drawing heaven, the power, energy down into matter with our Hierophant here. And we use the moon in Taurus to describe this second decan. And the moon here takes the form of the High Priestess. We use her as a tarot card to describe that lunar influence. And you can see the crescent moon here at her feet. There is a watery, emotional capacity to our High Priestess. She feels like a Mother Mary. She feels like the cosmic mother, Isis. And she is Hathor here, the triple-headed mother, the cow who gives sustenance, nourishment to life. And we see here also with the High Priestess a level of self-discipline. She is able to control the force, the power. For example, Zeus moving through, she's able to control that flow of energy. And she also has concealed wisdom like the moon. There are secrets that she is happy to share as you are able to open yourself up to receive them. And so these two come together, our High Priestess and our Hierophant, and the card that is used, the minor arcana card that is used to describe the moon in Taurus, is the Six of Pentacles. We see a person, a benefactor, handing out alms, charity, seeds or money. And what we see here is somebody is receiving and the other is not. And yet the scales are balanced. The pentacles are not balanced. And yet the scales are still balanced. So this card is asking us, it's teasing us, asking us to look at why this could be so. How can one be receiving and one not other, and still it is fair? Well, it's a law of the universe. We will only receive that which we are open to receiving. We will only receive that which we are. And so here is the answer to this card, I believe. It's that he could give out as much as he likes. But if you are not open to receive it, it will just flow away. And we have a 6 here. And for me, the 6 takes us to our sacred heart space. The divine masculine and the divine feminine coming into union. So we see here that perfect balance within ourselves, within that heart space. So we see here, it is quite even though there is some difficulty here within the card, there is a sense of generosity of spirit. There is a good feeling, and there's certainly a sense of things being handed out, enough to share. And that's interesting at this time of year because we're at that peak of spring in our calendar. We know that. We've had the equinox and we're moving towards the solstice in the summer. And between the two, the very halfway point is Beltane. And we're marking this with fertility rites. We see them lighting huge bonfires and driving their cattle through these fires, between the fires. And the idea is that they are infused with the fire, which improves their fertility, gives them protection. And we have a real sense of this potency at this time of year, springtime, lots of things going on, lots of non-physical coming into physical, lambs being born, calves being born. And so here we have this idea of lots of money, lots of abundance. And the springtime is ripe with this. And so the myth that I have chosen to describe our Six of Pentacles, our second decan of Taurus, is Eridanus. And Eridanus is a river. And the river is a constellation, and many of its stars are found within the second decan of Taurus. And Eridanus is a river, and Phaethon, the son of Helios, the sun god, has a part to play in this whole myth. He asks his father if he could grant him a wish. And in agreeing to grant him his wish, his father Helios has been bound by an oath. He didn't know what his son was going to ask. And his son asks if he can ride his solar chariot through the skies, carrying the sun through the skies. His father knows that his son is incapable of doing this. He doesn't have the skill or the experience, but he has been bound by an oath, and he has to agree, and he does. And Phaethon charges on the chariot, takes off. The horses are wild and he cannot control them. The chariot is completely thrown one way and another. He is absolutely out of control. The sun is taken so high in the sky that it starts to burn the skies and scorch the skies, and then falls back down to earth, plummets down, and does the same on the earth, gouging out tracts of earth and setting fire and setting flames to the earth. Zeus takes control and strikes Phaethon down, and he falls to his death into the river Eridanus. And I'm just going to read a quote here, which I think helps to explain, I think, this moon in Taurus. We've got the idea of the springtime. The sun is getting stronger in the sky. And yet, during this time in spring, we have lots of rain. We have lots of this feminine water element coming in to sort of dampen the heat, if you like, of this solar force. What that does is it then brings fertility to the land. And so here is the quote: "I will drag down from heaven the fiery Eridanus, whose course is among the stars, and bring him back to a new home in the Celtic land. He shall be water again, and the sky shall be bare of the river of fire." Nonnus Dionysiaca 23, 380. He shall be water again, and the sky shall be bare of the river of fire. And so we get this idea of water and solar energy being balanced, the moon bringing that masculine solar force into balance. But there's more to the myth. Eridanus has sisters, and they mourn his loss, and they cannot stop mourning. The emotional capacity here that we see with the High Priestess is endless. And so they keep pouring out tears of grief into the river. And the gods decide that they need to create something from this stagnation. These women are fixed to the spot on the banks of the river, crying their tears. So they turn them into poplar trees to continue growth. And still they weep. They weep resin from their bark. And the resin turns into tears, and they become amber. They solidify into amber and drop into the river and get carried along the course. Amber has the properties of being able to preserve insects and things in it. Here they're preserving the memory of that solar god, the sun captured, this energy, this life force of Phaethon is held in these tears, in the amber. And so we see again, once more, like we saw with Zeus, the unknowable, the force taking physical form in the bull. We see here the solar force of Phaethon coming through, being balanced by the watery energy of the river, and then transformed through the tears of his sisters and held in solid amber. And amber again is bringing us back to Venus, and Venus rules Taurus. Amber is beautiful. We have it all here in the myth. We have the sun moving in its path across the skies. We have the balance of the river Eridanus and the emotional capacity for holding pain and transformation. They transform this pain into something that represents beauty in the amber. We have heaven coming down to earth, the non-material into this physical form in the amber. And so we can really start to appreciate the lunar influence here with our Six of Pentacles, the idea of maintaining the flow, the movement of non-physical into form. And here we see the same idea with this benefactor not hoarding his wealth, not clutching his riches, but going out into the world and maintaining flow, spreading, sharing his wealth. And with the balance scales there, reminding us still that there are seasons to everything, and sometimes things will flourish and sometimes things will wither. We know this from our lunar cycles and our seasonal cycles. She teaches us this, and always remembering that we will be receiving only that which we are open to receive. And when we combine this with the idea of the mythology of the sisters stood frozen in their grief on the riverbanks, weeping for their brother, we get the idea of stuck energy, and nature could not have that. So the gods transformed them into the poplar trees, new growth, and still they cried, and still the energy was transformed into sap, and then the sap became amber, crystals of amber, and we retain that Venusian beauty, the beauty that Venus bestows on the world. You see these amber stones moving into the river, continuing the flow of life. And so this card and these Hierophant and the High Priestess, and we see here in the Six of Pentacles, a real sense of drawing heaven down to earth. So what does that mean for you at this time of year where we're recognizing such fertility, such potency? We have the bull, we have drawing the non-physical into form. So my suggestion to you is to write down a list of everything that you would like to have, everything that you desire in this world, whether it's physical form or whether it's you showing up as somebody different, or whether it's spiritual growth. Write it down in a journal and refine it, prioritize it, focus on it, and day by day, at least for the next 10 days. And if you can continue this, it's suggested this be a daily practice, just writing a list and keep on changing things. You may find you can cross things off the list because they've already come into your life. Maintain that focus on a priority. Number one is the most important thing, the thing you would love to see show up in your life. Write it down, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next, and keep up this practice and keep it alive. That's the idea of these cards. They're telling us we need to keep the energy flowing. Let's not get stuck. Have a wonderful day.